Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from the New York Times. Now this was published on the 26th. It's by Jonathan Rothwell. And I just want to point out, you want me to disable my ad blocker, New York Times? You scumbags, when you print this piece of shit and completely lie about what was stated in this Gallup media use evaluation bullshit thing, which is par for the course with people like you in the fake news media, the legacy media, the dying media. But you really want me to fund you? Screw you! Get bent! Biased news media, or I'm sorry, I was about to break out laughing with this one, trying to say it with such a serious voice. Biased news media or biased readers, an experiment on trust. Now, basically, this is an article designed to go after the fact of the alternative media, Trump supporters, conservatives who don't buy into, the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, and their bullshit. It's basically a hit piece type of thing. So, those who are most distrustful of the news media and those with more extreme political views tend to be the most biased readers, research shows. Which, nowhere, and I'm actually going to remember this time, even though it's in the article, I'll give a link to the article and this. You can go through this Gallup poll here yourself. Nowhere in it does it say anything like that about extreme views or anything like that. These are the type of questions they asked, okay? In general, how much trust and confidence do you have in mass media such as newspapers, TV, and radio when it comes to reporting the news fully, accurately, and fairly? A great deal, a fair amount, not very much, or none at all. This is also information, at best, a year old, all right? 2017 here. That's like a lot of their newest. It might barely, some of their stuff might be barely into 2018 in this, but it hops all over the place, like year-wise. Now, 13% great deal of trust in the legacy media. Fair amount, 28%. Not very much, 29%. Not at all, 29%. This is why they are freaking out. This is why this shitbag Jonathan and the New York Times are misrepresenting this Gallup media use and evaluation thing. All right? Now, they go, but look, going back to 72, 50% of Americans used to buy into our bullshit, because at the time, in 72, even though, and this is on record with declassified documents, papers like yourself had been infiltrated by the CEA and were crooked as shit, suppressing stuff, people bought into your bullshit. They don't anymore. So, okay, 2018, June. Latest here. And this one. Tell me how much confidence you have, you yourself, in each one of these things, okay? Newspapers. Television. All right? But this is what's messed up. Where they're trying to portray things a particular way. All right, see, 2017. Let's go. Oh, we got to stop here. This one's actually good. Thinking about the various sources of news available today, what would you say is your main source of news about current events in the U.S. and around the world? Now, this is open-ended. Now, this is only 2016 and 2013, okay? Television, TV news, non-specific. It's gone down between 3 years. Internet, computer online, actually went down, according to this Gallup thing here. Fox went up 1. CNN went up 1, but Fox is ahead. Facebook and Twitter, went up quite a bit with Facebook, Twitter, and social media. Newspapers, went down. Other specific internet sites, they don't say which ones. Okay, radio went down. NPR went actually up. Local TV news went down. MSNBC, 2%, went up 1%. New York Times, you stagnant motherfuckers. You stayed at 1%. Oh, does your ass hurt? Because the truth does? And you've been sitting on it along with your laurels, thinking you can con the American people and they're going to buy your bullshit? NBC. I mean, look at this. But this is what I love. Univision, less than 0.5%. CNBC, less than 0.5%. CNBC shouldn't even exist. But then you go down. Look, 2014. All right. They don't want to go with 2018. Gallup. All right. I'm surprised that Gallup did this. All right. They could have more current information, but they would look so shitty with this that they chose not to, which I have to condemn Gallup for this, okay? And I gotta condemn the New York Times for taking something that was dishonestly created by Gallup and then lying about the contents in it, which we'll get into. But see, 2014, if they had asked in 2016, if they had taken the results from 2016 or 2017 or even 2018 especially, with the fact of the media being looked at as too liberal, okay, this would be way out of skew and they would be screwed. But yet, look at this, 2013. And this is about the idea of the government contractors in 2013, and then they look at Snowden. And the funny thing is they don't want to admit that they're part of the reason why people, 42% of the people thought it was wrong that Snowden leaked information. New York Times, you were sucking Obama's dick, helping him push this bullshit story that Snowden should be charged with treason and all this other bullshit. Look at this, 2008. How often do you get your news from newspapers, from the local newspapers? Because they didn't want to go and show anything more recent than 2008, because if they showed anything more recent than 2008, what you would have is people laughing at, you know, New York Times and your local newspapers and Boston Globe and Washington Post for even existing in this day and age. I mean, look at this one. 2008. This is hilarious. They didn't want to go later than 2008 with this, okay? But look at this question. I love this one. Please indicate how often you get your news from each of the following sources. Every day, several times a week, occasionally, or never. How about national newspapers such as the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and USA Today? Okay, so they're legacy media outlets that push this Trump derangement syndrome bullshit. Back down in 2008, 9%. 1998, 8%. Every day. So, 98, July, only 4% every day. I wonder what happened back then. Something had to have disillusioned people. But, yeah, 9% of people, several times a week, 6%. Occasionally 24, never 60 fucking %. They knew if they went past 2008, because it's been a continuous drop, that by 2017, even if they went to 2014, you know, but 2014 and beyond, okay, the existence of these outlets gets quickly called into question. Oh, this is good. The same thing with the, look at, all right, because this is the same idea, because it's NBC, ABC, and CBS, okay, nightly network news. Look at, from 95 to 2008, you had a drop from every day of 62%. And I remember when I was, you know, I mean, I was born in the mid-70s. And I remember when everyone watched the news. It was almost a family affair. I mean, even if the kids didn't want to watch it, they sat there. I mean, they played with their toys, but they would have the TV on and they would watch, you know, the 6 o'clock news. Or parents would stay up and watch the evening news and then watch Carson. And it went from 62% in 95 to 34% in 2008 for every day. They literally lost close to half of the people watching them, going by this poll, or this previous polling information. So, what would it be like in 2018, 10 years later? Are we going to be looking at it even further in the toilet? Well, of course. Several times a week. Look at 20% down to 14%. And I bet it's even lower than that occasionally. Look. 15% to 28%. So they actually gained there. Now that would probably be in the toilet. Well, they went up and then they went down and then they went up. But yeah. And then never. I love this. 3% in 95 never get their news from the big three of television. 08, 23%. This just goes to show you how this poll is set up, or this collection of poll information, because it's not a current poll. It's not something that they did. You know, morning news and interview programs. Where do you get your news? Okay, and it's all cut off at 2008. Same thing. They actually, because they've become more trash TV from 95 to 08, but the numbers went up a little bit there on every day. But I think you get the idea. Look, 08, and this one's how about your cable news networks such as CNN, Fox, and News on getting your news from them every day, several times a week, occasionally. Public television news, same thing. It goes to 08. See, they don't want to go past 08 because, oh God, if they showed that, they'd be tattooed and screwed. All right, 08. Like I said, this is going to be linked. But look at this, 07. And this is too liberal. They don't want to do again. The 2017, 2018 is the media too liberal. This is where they pull out this shit. This is funny. I wanted to cover this before we get into the article. I'm glad I stopped here because I might have forgot. Because this is where they're taking this to actually go after the independent media. This is from 2007. As you may know, citizen journalism is the process by which people use technology such as cell phone cameras, video recorders, and internet websites to post pictures, stories, and videos of news events they encounter. Do you think citizen journalism is likely to be more reliable or less reliable than traditional news media? Now, this is what's funny. In 2007, and it's only grown, and that's what scares them. January 2007, so we're talking barely into 07. We're talking, probably the beginning of the month. So we'll say 2006. End of 2006, belief. More reliable, 45%. Less reliable, 48%. Very close. Because the brainwashing had stopped working about you can't believe what you see on the internet. Plus you have actual video footage. Same volume and no opinion. Small 3 and 5%. Do you personally have any concerns about the accuracy of reports made by citizen journalists or not? Again, 2007. Because I got to attack the alternative media. We're coming up to the point of the midterm elections here. 62% have concerns. 35% do not. 3% no opinion. This is the so damning, part of this. And it's from 07. Gallup should not even have put this out there. They look like fucking morons. Look at it. Do you have any concerns about the accuracy reports made by traditional journalists or not? 61% have concerns. 38% do not. Do you think if they put, say, 2017, 10 years later, that number would be a lot higher on the note of having concerns, or would it stay the same? Of course it's going to be higher. But I think you get the point. So we went through that. Nowhere did you see anything that backs up this biased news media or biased readers, an experiment on trust, this bullshit that they've got going in here about how the most distrustful of the news media and the ones with the most extreme political views tend to be the most biased. Did you see any of that there? Of course not. We just went through it. I quickly went through it. But now let's get into this article. And you can go get bent in New York Times. I'm not going to disable my ad blocker when you're printing shit like this using this bullshit Gallup survey data. Gallup survey data indicates that Americans are increasingly distrustful about potentially biased news, but they should also worry about the partiality of their own judgment as well as how their news consumption habits may affect it. Oh, bullshit. You don't like the fact that people aren't sniffing your farts anymore and don't see you wastes of fucking space as the fourth estate, because you were never the fourth estate. There are 3 branches of government and you were never part of it. You guys tried to interject and force yourselves into it, and now you don't have that ability. And you can't shape people's minds, and it really irks you. People look at you as fucking jokes. That irks you. You people, okay? This is what gets me is, it's like the skeptics with their melting down now, okay? The second you people start, tripping on your own ego, sniffing your own farts, you think you're fucking special. And it turns out all of you are special ed. This is why I hate the septic community. This is why I hate the legacy media. Because you're all high on your own fucking farts. You get your head so far up your own goddamn asses, okay, that somehow you defy the laws of biology and manage to survive huffing fucking straight methane and not getting any oxygen. This is such bullshit. The biased consumers bring with them their distorts their rating of news content. New research shows, and those who are most distrustful of the news media tend to be the most biased readers. Where's your research? Because it wasn't that Gallup survey, and I want to see your fucking sources, because you pull out this shit after using this Gallup data to back your ass, and it doesn't. We just went through it. Oh my God. I mean, this is such bullshit. The evidence also suggests that people are at greater risk of bias if they habitually turn to more extreme sources, such as those least often preferred by political moderates. Oh, so you're talking about centrist, towards the center, normie types who buy into your bullshit. If someone actually goes and seeks beyond MSNBC and CNN, or the New York Times, or the Washington Post, you people, you're saying that we're at greater risk of bias? Are you kidding me? Sorry, that's just my poor attempt at acting. I mean, this is such ridiculous shit. Oh my God. How to study bias. Oh God. Now we're going to have the cultural Marxist sociologist bullshit kick in here. Social scientists, yep, have devised a number of ways to research bias, which is notoriously hard to measure. Oh, if you want to, I believe Aidan Paladin actually did a video on this topic about bias. It's actually pretty good. You should go check it out. I wish I could remember the title of it. But yeah, it is hard to measure, but you idiots twist shit. In one famous study, the economists Claudia Goldin and Cecilia Rouse found that the share of women admitted to city orchestras increased substantially when evaluators were prevented from seeing the auditioning musicians and could judge based only on the quality of the performance. Oh, so what you're saying is women are judgmental bitches. Gotcha. They go by appearances. Gotcha. Okay, I'm surprised you'd actually admit that, being the New York Times. Oh, God, that's fucking hilarious. I'm not saying all women, but a preponderance of. I mean, that's what they're getting at here. The lesson from this and other studies of discrimination is that withholding irrelevant information can enhance judgment. Thus, the overwhelming consensus among scientists is that peer-reviewed publications should be based on blind review. Actually, there should be no such thing as peer-reviewed publications, because peer-reviewed publications are literally academic shitbags all sniffing each other's asses, getting high off each other's farts, just publishing bullshit that they don't even actually necessarily go and fact check. Okay? Scientific publication, because there should not be consensus. This is another thing, before we go any further, because I don't want to forget to address this part. Because science is not consensus, but you fucking idiots on the left think that science is about consensus. I don't remember in my, high school, or even, actually, we'll say middle school, going from middle school through college, all my different science courses, whether it was chemistry, physics, biology, whatever. I don't remember consensus being part of the fucking scientific method. Now, does anyone else? Because I sure as shit don't. And maybe I missed that day where they taught consensus as part of that, but I sure as shit don't remember it. But see, you people on the left, you think consensus makes something factual. Just because 10 idiots with an IQ of a fucking parsnip, or genius-level IQs that have been indoctrinated into cultural Marxist bullshit, doesn't matter. But if in either group, if they all agree on something, it still does not make it true. It doesn't matter if they're 60 in IQ or 160. Just because they say they want something to be true does not mean it is. Wow. And this whole thing of blind review. Again, there should be no review when it comes to peer publication, peer publishing. There should be no review process with peer publishing, because there should be no peer publishing. News without labels. In this context, Knight Foundation, oh God, the Knight Foundation. All right, where's Michael Knight? Where's Kit? Because that's what I'm seeing here when I see that. I can't take this seriously now. If they say the Knight Foundation again, that's all I'm going to think of is a guy in his fucking car. And I'm not talking the reboot. I'm talking the original. The Hoff, man. This is bad when I see that. And I'm off on this tangent. Anyways, in this context, the Knight Foundation partnered with Gallup in 2017 to create an experimental news platform as part of a larger research initiative. The platform pulled news articles and other content from diverse media outlets and invited a random sample of Americans who had taken Gallup surveys to participate in the rating of trustworthiness of the content. Now, the funny thing is, all right, I haven't checked this. I wonder if they're going to list the outlets. No. Anyone want to bet, though, that they were all legacy media outlets? Because I'm willing to put money on that. I'm willing to bet money on that shit. They're diverse things. So every legacy media outlet, whether it's local, national, whatever, they grouped them all together and went, oh yeah, diverse. Because that's how they consider their diversity. All the same shit. Same thought. You think that they're going to put diversity of thought in the publications? No. Of course not. The platform pulled news articles, as they said, but we don't know what they are. And then they did a Gallup survey, and then they took a random sample of Americans, which we don't know how big the sample is or anything like that. I mean, I love how they're trying to portray this here. So, half the participants were not allowed to see the sources of the news, only to read its content. The other half were allowed to see the sources as they would on a typical website. A total of 3,081 people provided ratings of 1,645 different articles originally published by one of 7 well-known sources. Yes, exactly. 7 well-known sources. Translation: 7 legacy media, leftist, cultural Marxist, globalist, biased type of outlets. Thank you. But you don't want to admit that. The results, which have been published by Gallup and Knight, show that the blinded group is significantly more trusting of the news content. People identifying with the Republican Party who read media perceived as left-leaning like the New York Times and Vox without knowing where it came from rated it as more trustworthy than the non-blind group did. Bullshit. All right, because I've been reading fucking your New York Times and Vox enough that I could fucking point out your fucking bullshit right there. Your lying sack of shittedness. Okay? Yeah, okay. I'm not even a Republican, but I can point... I'm a libertarian. I don't believe in political parties. And I can tell you're full of shit here. I can tell you're full of shit here. I'd like to see, like... Alright? Which, if you notice, they didn't link directly to the shit that they claimed before. Again, they didn't really do that here. They've got multiple, download the PDF. They don't want to fucking cite it. They just make a claim, which I showed with the Gallup information that they were showing, that it was all from, like, way back, and they're trying to use that as part of this. I mean, this is so sleazy. A measure of media bias based on political views. Those with more extreme political views tend to provide more biased ratings of news. Percentage of large rating bias in each group. So, okay. You're hitting the conservatives, but you don't expect people to come down and see this. Look at the far left, well, very liberal, very conservative. Tied almost. Literally 1/10 of a percentage point. Approve of Trump, 39.2. Conservative, 38.9. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Calling out your bullshit, your lies, your fucking attacking Trump gives us 30, because you literally do it every day. That makes us biased. Conservatives, oh, look at how biased the conservatives are. Look at how biased Republicans are. Oh, Democrats, oh, look, independents. Wait a minute. How the hell do independents even fit into this? How the fuck is an independent is a fence post sitter for the most part? And with a lot of them. Sticks, Hex, and Hammer these days is a fucking poster child for that shit. Look at him. He sits in the middle these days and he goes, well, like, I love this because he doesn't want, because he's looking at growing his fucking platforms. And I know this is a tangent, but I gotta say this really quick. All right, because he's so excited about growing his channel on platforms like BitChute and that. He's become so fucking milquetoast middle of the road. It's not even funny. And it wasn't like he was far on either direction, any which way. I mean, just look at the fact of this shit with him, which he got a lot of flack for it, with Sargon and him going after Mr. Medicare, all right, and trying to accuse him of being, and trying to basically, through implication, taking a clip out of context where Medicare was getting a pedo to incriminate himself so that he could be exposed, and saying, oh, Jim's a pedo. Now, Sticks wouldn't go and actually look at what was going on. And he goes, why can't they all just get along? Why can't, Jim just leave it alone? And it's like, Sticks, you fence post sitting fuckwit. Pull the fence post out of your ass and pick a fucking side. But he wouldn't even watch the video of like Jim or even Sargon. He's just like, why can't they all just get along? Sargon kept lobbing jabs. And he's going, can't we all just get along? And then today, I watch a video of him about the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, with the whole NFL thing, Sticks, if memory serves, had this mentality that the NFL players, they're there getting paid to do a job. Part of that job would be standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, standing for the national anthem. But a girl who he doesn't go and look into it deeper, and I'm sure this is the case of where she got mouthy and caused a lot of problems over this and got expelled, but supposedly she got expelled for the fact of not standing for the pledge, which to me is completely laughable. You'd get suspended because Texas is against the law to do it, okay? But obviously, because they said, well, she got harassed in the article, the teacher said, stand up. she said, no. Teacher said, stand up. She went, no, I'm protesting. And then she went, get to the office. And then she got mouthy with the office, and it got to the point of where I'm sure she got so belligerent they had enough and said, get the fuck out of this school. But see, Styx is going, well, she shouldn't have to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And it's like, dude, you really don't want to piss off people these days, so you're going to fence post sit on that shit? Fuck you. You just a few months back with the NFL took the opposite fucking stance. They're going to school. That's the idea of it. It's like they're going to a job. The students are required to do it. She don't want to do it. She should be punished. Okay? That's the centrist fence post sitting bullshit that I'm talking about. Okay? Fucking indecision. How the hell? Because a lot of independents, they want to middle road it. How the fuck is their bias? They're probably the most easily swayed. And I love this. The least biased out of the group here are they do not approve of Trump's. They have less bias. People who lean Democrat, less bias. People who lean Republican, I love it. Even less bias. Ideology is moderate, even less bias. But I love that. This is complete bullshit. They do not approve of Trump. Having lower bias. They are the most fucking deranged individuals on the planet. And similarly, those identifying with the Democratic Party who read media perceived as right-leaning like Fox News rated it higher when they did not know the source. Okay. Yes, but the thing is Fox in their actual reporting has been shown. Tim Pool did a video on it not too long ago. I'm trying to remember the organization that went through it, but Fox News is actually considered very accurate when it comes to their reporting on, say, like their website and stuff. The database also provides two novel measures: trust ratings of those articles by blind reviewers who are significantly more impartial, and a comparison with the ratings of people with a normal news consumption experience that allows them to see the brand. Translation. They want to do, they have this trust rating idea. What? So because some people who, wow, that's mind-blowing. They're saying because some people who read it and didn't know the source found it to be trustworthy, they actually rated articles using that. Damn the actual facts that are being presented, though, if any. Consider that a reader's trustworthy rating of a news article is the sum of the article's inherent qualities, the reader's personal views, and brand prejudice. Okay. And then you compare it. Yeah, all right, so yeah, what you're trying to say is, well, the people who blindly watch it, as we just went through, are going to be, you're going to use that as a rating, but then you're comparing it to people's bias, and you're trying to use that to counter it. Okay? Still doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't. I mean, this is like complete bullshit. It's like you're literally trying to take numbers and have them mean other things and counter other numbers. It doesn't work like that. The experimental and control groups are alike, except that brand prejudice is removed from the experimental group. The difference in an article's trustworthiness score between the two groups is equal to the brand prejudice or bias of the control group, those who can see the news source. For those in that group, an individual's bias was calculated for each article by taking the absolute value difference in trustworthiness ratings between his or her ratings and the mean score for the articles as provided by blind reviewers. The ratings use a scale of 1 to 5 with increments of 0.05. So what they did is they took a bunch of articles, had people read them not knowing where they came from, had them judge trustworthiness, which, like I said, I've been reading enough New York Times. I would know this shit was New York Times. If they handed me this article blind, I'd be like, Washington Shit Post or New York Times? I would. If it had major cultural identity politics, LGBTQ, A, E, I, O, U, and Y type stuff, I'd go, like, say, Vox, HuffPost, or something like that. And I'd know what it was. People aren't stupid. They had to have taken articles that didn't really show those colors and they slanted it. I mean, that's the only way. And this is what gets me. So they're taking these what people perceived as trustworthiness. Perceive, the median. And they're using that as their baseline to try to create this fallacy that because someone sees the name of a news source, they're automatically going to, you know, not look at what it says and at least look at it for its factual nature and see if it is actually factual. Wow. That's not how it works. Because I can tell you right now, this right here is you fucking halfwits trying to cover for your being dishonest, lying sacks of shit. Okay? There is a reason why. Even though you idiots in the legacy media created the term fake news to go after the alternative media, alright, there's a reason why with you doing that it's been turned against you, because you are fucking fake news. Who is the greatest risk at bias? Among all readers in the group who could see the news source, 35% exhibit large bias, meaning their trust rating of an article diverged from the blind review group by 1.5 percentage points, or more than 1 to 5 point scale. What? 1.5 percentage points is 1.5 fucking percent. That ain't shit. How the fuck is that a 1 to 5 point scale? Because literally 1.5 percentage points. Okay, if you get a mortgage with 6 percentage points, it's 6 fucking percent. Wow, you think people are fucking stupid. Well, we gotta make that sound a lot bigger because 1.5% ain't shit and we really gotta scare people. Not surprisingly, those who have more extreme political views tend to provide more biased ratings of news. Those who describe their political views as very liberal or very conservative exhibited large bias across 43% of the articles they rated, whereas those who described their views as moderate exhibited bias just 31% of the time. Likewise, those who leaned towards one party but did not fully identify with it exhibited about the same bias as moderates. The data also suggests that those who approved of President Trump rate news articles with more bias than those who disapprove of the president, 39.2% versus 32.8%. However, Trump supporters tend to be less biased than those identifying as very liberal. I love this. They attack the president. People see it. People see it. See it for what it is. And they're trying to go, oh, they're fucking biased. We're innocent. We ain't attacking the president. No. It's your bias. Wow. Seriously trying to push this social scientist, cultural Marxist, you know, bullshit theory on here, on the people pretty thick, huh? Strikingly, those with the strongest distrust of news media provide the most biased ratings. Respondents were asked, in general, how much trust do you have in the mass media, such as newspapers, TV, and radio, when it comes to reporting the news fully, accurately, and fairly? Which, the funny thing is I showed you. Now, they're pulling this. It looks like, yeah, they're pulling, wow. They're pulling this from the Gallup shit, which looks like the other shit that was really dated. Percentage of large rating bias for each group. Trust of the media, none at all, 46.9. A great deal of trust, 39.8. Not very much trust, 31.5. A fair amount of trust. You want to know why there's almost half of the country, according to this, that don't trust you fuckers? 'Cause you lie. Stop lying, and people will trust you a little bit more. This is like the idea of mundane Matt. I mean, I hate to bring up the septics, right? You know, but I see parallels. All right, the New York Times right now is mundane Matt. In denial, in denial, in denial. They're watching their subscriber base hit the fucking toilet like he is, okay? They're only getting a couple thousand views, okay? Shit like that. And they're freaking out like mundane Matt. So they're trying to pass this off like he did on other people when he literally was false flagging people and using his in with the trusted flagger people to literally have people shut their channels shut down and shit. This is no different. Wow. Those who say they don't trust the news media at all provided biased ratings 47% of the time, whereas those who trust the news media a fair amount provided ratings with a large bias just 30% of the time. See, what I love is they keep talking about this whole trust thing, but they actually don't talk about the factual nature of the news. What were they actually presenting? How factual was it? I mean, they're literally talking about the Trump deranged here. And they're literally lying about the Trump deranged and their bias. They're trying to say Trump supporters have more bias than the Trump deranged anti-never-Trumpers. Which, I don't know what bizarro fucking world I've ended up in for that to be the case, but I know it's not true. You know it's not true. I mean, that just goes to show you that there's literally nothing to back this. This is about feels, because they're taking articles that they've handed to people from 7 outlets, and then what they're doing is they're having them, without looking at where they're from, read them, and then judge on feelings how trustworthy the article is. They're not letting them check the facts in them. And then they're using that as their baseline to attack conservatives and Trump supporters and all these other people. This just goes to show you that they want these middle-of-the-road, centrist types that they can easily fucking manipulate. I mean, this is funny. Because, you know, you give 40% of the time. I mean, because those who, I love this, those who say they don't trust the news media at all provided a biased rating 47% of the time. That sounds so fucking sweet until you think about it. Like so damning, I mean. But once you think about it, it's so sweet. Because it's complete bullshit. You're like, wow, they're really grasping, and it makes you realize how desperate they are. And then this thing of, it really does. Aside from the content provider, articles were classified by whether they were about politics, economics, or science. Articles about politics generated significantly more bias than those about science and economics. If the articles mentioned President Trump or Hillary Clinton, the bias was even more pronounced. Oh, you think? Because you have a guy that you people have been smearing for over 2 years at this point, and a woman that you've been sucking a fucking, I don't know what the hell she is, but she's got a bigger dick than her husband, Bill, and you've all been sucking it, trying to fluff her, trying to get her elected, trying to make it like it's not her own damn fault that she lost, and that people didn't see through your fucking lying and covering for her, and trying to fucking slant an election by you know, using your outlets to try to, you know, brainwash people and influence others. Oh no, you know, let's not mention those things, you know, on the fact of why there might be some bias. Chosen news sources shape perception. Another reason why some people may demonstrate high levels of bias in reading the news is that they are habitually consume high biased news, distorting their frame of reference. Oh God. The Knight-Gallup data provides some evidence for this. Oh yeah, kind of like the Gallup data that you said so backed your shit, but it really didn't. Respondents were asked, is there a news source that you trust to report the news fully, accurate, and fairly? Those who responded yes were then asked to list the source. There were very large differences in measured bias across the various news sources people regularly consume. But we've already proven, just through simple fucking logic, that your measure for bias is complete feels over reals fucking bullshit. Holy fucking crap. Because when you're literally asking people to tell you how they feel on how accurate an article is, doesn't matter whether it's the biased group or the group that's had the sanitized news where they don't know where it's coming from. That's fucking feels over reals bullshit. You have no actual facts to back this article. Oh my God. I mean, I love this whole thing of the idea of that there were very large differences in measured bias across the various news sources people regularly consume. And then I love the next sentence, because look at where they're trying to show the biases. Those who turn to Rush Limbaugh, Breitbart, and Fox News tend to generate the most biased ratings of news content. Rush Limbaugh listeners demonstrated large rating bias in 52% of the news content rated, and it was 50% for Breitbart readers. Fox News watchers showed a bias of 45% of the time. This is complete bullshit. Okay, this is all feels. I want to know your methodology and everything else, because this is complete fucking bullshit. Rush Limbaugh is a run-of-the-mill fucking conservative. He's not far fucking right. He's preaching. He's a regular old fucking conservative. He's preaching to these Republicans, which, let's go back up to this fucking chart up here. Republican. 38.6 bias in your bullshit rating. Yet, down here, 52%! Where the hell did he gain the other freaking, 14 or 13 and change percent? Fox News, same fucking story, regular old conservatives. One American News, don't even know who the fuck they are. MSNBC, bullshit. 38%, try way more. It's 37 for bullshit for CBS, more than that. This is so fucking slanted. How the hell did you fuckers rig this? Because you lie, you all fucking lie, and you're like, how dishonest can you be when Rush Limbaugh is normal conservative Republican? No, a lot of normal Republicans listen to him. Yet he has 50, which would be the 38 point whatever. 52% of them are biased. Yeah, makes a lot of fucking sense, don't it? But I love this. The Wall Street Journal, 26%. PBS, 14%. Okay, partially federally fucking funded. Leftist fucking propaganda gets 14% bias. The Washington shitpost should be fucking way higher than Rush Limbaugh. They literally have earned the moniker fake news. AP and Reuters, the same deal. Oh my God, Drudge Report, who literally pulls from everywhere. He pulls from left sources, right sources. I mean, he pulls from everywhere. 35%, my ass. How the hell did you get these numbers skewed that the Washington shitpost is that low? Wow! The viewers of MSNBC showed a large bias in 38% of articles. Readers of the New York Times and listeners to NPR were close to the national average, with 36% and 34% exhibiting large bias. Two of the biggest biased outlets, like NPR, partially federally funded leftist fucking propaganda. New York Times. Bezos isn't, no, the Washington shitpost is Bezos' bitch. Oh, who's the fucking multimillionaire that bailed out the fucking New York Times? The billionaire. Fucking A. But him. Holy fucking shit. Two of the most biased leftist fucking outlets. Oh yeah, national average. We're not biased. Fuck you, you aren't. Wow. Two news sources associated with the latest biased consumers were the Wall Street Journal, 26%, and PBS, 14%. Those who habitually watch PBS rate articles from a diversity of sources almost as if they were blind reviewers. Bullshit! They just rated the articles that you want rated as neutral or in favor of you, or negative because they're not what you want, because they've been indoctrinated into that leftist bullshit. You're gonna call them impartial, like they were blind. My hairy ass, they are neutral. You do realize that one of the tropes of Family Ties, okay, was the fact that Alex P. Keaton's parents were fucking leftist fucking hippies, and he was a fucking Reaganite Republican. And, oh, where did the father work? Oh, that's right, PBS. You are literally trying to say a partially federally funded, like, socialist program type of media outlet, what we could call state-run media, because of how much money they get from the federal government. that has nothing but leftists and cultural Marxists and the like. Because, you know, they were replaced, you know, the commie hippies were replaced by the cultural Marxists. Okay, you're going to try to say that they're fucking unbiased? Hoo-wee. I want to know what the fuck you're smoking, because that's got to be some really good shit to be that fucking high. Holy shit. I started out so nice in this article. I was, you know, calm. I wasn't sounding like I had Tourette's. But then I read further into the New York Times, and it just brings it out of me. I mean, when you try to say that the leftist propaganda-pushing PBS, its viewers were like blind reviewers, goes to show that you are so full of shit. Whereas consumers of Fox News, and to a lesser extent MSNBC, seem to give relatively more weight to brand rather than content when judging news articles. Translation. You had a normal Republican, because no one buys that MSNBC isn't biased unless they're far left at this point. What you did is you put a normal run-of-the-mill Republican up against a far leftist in this comparison, and you went, yeah, you're biased as fuck because, you know, you saw Fox News and they're automatic liars, and you went, oh, yeah, MSNBC, only far left. Okay, so that was how you created that example. Good job. One interpretation of these findings is that certain outlets create bias, perhaps by offering lower quality content, though it's just as plausible that more biased consumers gravitate towards the same news outlets. Okay, so what they're trying to say here, and this is what I get a kick out of, is, well, it isn't the bias, it's just Fox News watchers. They're fucking idiots. That's kind of what they're hinting at there, especially where they just went through this Fox News thing. Because they're saying, well, is that they're offering lower quality content and that they're creating bias through it. And they're saying that if they're providing lower quality, I mean, even though they're trying to be like an or type situation here, it really doesn't come across that way, because they're trying to say, well, they provide low quality content and dumb fucks just move towards Fox News. I mean, that's kind of what they're hinting at here. I mean, it's the New York Times. I mean, that's why they literally mention Fox News and MSNBC, because now they're starting to throw MSNBC under the bus. So, by doing this, they're actually, you know, making people look at those two outlets as, you know, biased, as low information, as morons. And it explains a lot when they put it that way, at least to the low information morons, because they can go, they're stupid. That's why they buy that shit. Because it isn't because they actually go look at the facts. And that's what they're fucking doing here. They're literally, alright, the New York Times has this idea that, yeah, we can pass this off, and it's not going to work. Yet they're going to try. I don't know. I just don't understand this shit. This is such fucked up shit that they're trying to do this. They're desperate. Providing better quality news is the challenge of journalists and their organizations. In a low-cost era of publishing, when just about anyone can disseminate news, the bigger challenge may be how to educate and prepare the citizenry to seek out and identify high-quality information. Translation. Wow. This last paragraph speaks volumes. Providing better quality news is the challenge of journalists and their organizations. Well, all the legacy media has dropped the ball. They've rested on their laurels. They've compromised their integrity. They've compromised their actual morals. They've compromised on any which way that they can. They've sold out. People now see it. And that's why you have the alternative media. And this next sentence speaks volumes to that, because they're talking about how like I've mentioned in several of my videos, I create my content on a laptop that's at like 4 years old, pushing 5 years old at this point, something close to that. By far, it's, by far from being a powerhouse too. I haven't, I don't have expensive equipment. I'm using Linux. I'm using open source and free software. So talk about low cost. And I can disseminate my views, and I can report on this type of shit. And it scares them. So their challenge is to try to indoctrinate, not educate, the citizenry to not seek out alternative outlets and to trust the legacy media, because the legacy media don't lie. Now, Jonathan here is a senior economist at Gallup and a visiting scholar at the George Washington University Institute of Public Policy. So basically, if he's working in the GW University of Public Policy, he's kind of a globalist shitbag type. I'm gonna guess. So, oh god. Oh, he's also a fucking identity fucking politics piece of shit. Because he is the author of the book forthcoming with Princeton University Press for the fall of 2019 on political equality and its relationship to economic opportunity. There already is political equality. So I don't understand how you need to write a book about that, because political equality, everyone has it. But I bet you that the book is going to have the whole marginalized thing going on and all that other shit, and it's going to be on a great identity politics page turner. All right, they had to put a note on methods. I was just about to end this. I'm glad I noticed this. In presenting averages, extra weight is given to articles based on the number of reviews they received, with the assumption that an article's rating more accurately reflects its content when it comes from a larger number of reviewers. Articles with fewer than 5 ratings are discarded. This leaves 67,280 ratings of 1,437 articles by 3,431 people. The underlying database and coding used for this analysis are publicly available from the Knight Foundation. So basically what they did is they assumed, which we know what assume means, make an ass out of you and me, that a bunch of fucking idiots rating an article, not knowing if it's factually accurate, meant that it was factually accurate. That's literally what they're fucking saying there. That it accurately reflects the content means that it was factually accurate, at least by that context. At least that's what I see. Wow. That's like moronic levels of lunacy. A bunch of idiots rate an article, and because more idiots rated one article than another article, it has to be true. Damn. If life only worked that way. That's how the left wanted to work, like with that whole peer thing that they mentioned. Anyway, I've been going at this way too long. This is definitely a long-ass article. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.